U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged further strikes against Daesh in Afghanistan in retaliation for Thursday's deadly bomb attack outside Kabul Airport. Biden said Washington will continue to hunt down those involved in the blasts and make them pay. He warned that the situation on the ground continues to be extremely dangerous and that another terror attack is highly likely. On Saturday, the United States carried out an airstrike in Nangarhar province, killing 2 people and wounding another. The Pentagon said all the casualties were Daesh members. But the Taliban condemned the U.S. airstrikes as a clear attack on the Afghan territory. This came 2 days after 2 bomb blasts outside Kabul Airport killed scores of people, including 13 U.S. troops. In order to discuss that story further, I'm joined by Mohammed Dawud Merak. He is an academic, author, and expert on Afghanistan, joining us out of Chicago. Mr. Meraki, thank you so much for joining Press TV. Washington calls it a retaliatory attack. The Taliban calls it a clear attack on Afghan sovereignty and territory. Who's right and why?
Well, the Taliban say that it's a violation of their sovereignty. That's a correct formulation of their, of their views, of course, because it was an Afghan territory, and anybody that violates the Afghan airspace and conduct, air raids or whatever other military, action, they constitute, of course, a violation of the sovereignty of Afghanistan. Thus far, the United States was in war, and they're about to depart with the last troops. And I think this was, if there was a need for a military action against Daesh and their remnants, the Taliban are well equipped and able to take care of them. They have, of course, in the past, the Taliban have basically wiped out Daesh from Nangarhar and Kunar provinces. But the Afghan government at that time airlifted them to safety, and some of them were housed in guest houses, as well as the individuals that they encircled in Faryab, for example. They were also airlifted to safety in order to save them from the onslaught of Taliban. And now, the United States, with this concoction of the war on terror, had given itself complete sovereignty all over the world to target whomever they choose to target, which is actually a clear violation of international law. This is not a jungle. The laws has to be international law, and nation-state sovereignty both of them have to be respected. Otherwise, anybody could go to any other country and conduct any kind of criminal act and then claim that it was in their self-interest. That's why we have diplomacy. That's why we have channels whereby you can communicate. It is what it is. But of course, I agree with the Taliban asserted was really their right to say that it was a violation of their sovereignty.
Mr. Meraki, how do such attacks carried out by Daesh or the attacks that are carried out in response to those attacks by the U.S. further complicate, first, the evacuation process of U.S. Troops from Afghanistan and also U.S. Taliban ties?
The irony is this, that Daesh and various terrorist organizations that are operating or used to operate in Afghanistan, they had other elements within the government that covered for them. There are individuals that even people in social media now refer to them as politicians, as Daesh sympathizers, that they served as a vehicle of communication, and physically they used to get moved and vehicle within the city, and otherwise there was tremendous security and no one could really move them. And for me, it is hard to believe that the Daesh element were able to pass Taliban security and then reach American sector and explode themselves. It could be something else. I mean, it is likely there might be some other explanation for this. But at this point, I don't know. But of course, in this kind of situation, in as you mentioned, efforts have to be made in order to smoothen any kind of misunderstanding, and impediments need not to be created. Any kind of impediment and hurdles to complicate the situation are unnecessary. And so the sooner the foreign forces leave Afghanistan, the better. And then Afghans are in charge of what they want to do, and they will be able to take care of Daesh, whomever else is around.
Mr. Meraki, thank you so much for joining Press TV and for your contribution to the program. I've been talking to Mohammed Dawood Meraki. He is an academic, author, and expert on Afghanistan who joined us out of Chicago.